Okay, it takes a while because I can only do like 2 or 3 inches at a time, because it's just the top part that gives me the best cut. I can cut it all the way down, but then it starts to pull. So if I haven't got a good grip on it, you know, on the leather here, it'll give me the wrong size. But at least it's giving me a straighter edge than if I had to use a pair of scissors. Takes a little longer, but I'm getting a straight edge out of it. I haven't lost any fingers yet, or fingernails. This would work a lot better if I had a way of holding this down nice and tight, evenly, because then I can just chop it back and forth like I'm doing and go all the way down and rip it, instead of just doing a few inches at a time. I get tired of things quick, so I can't have a project that takes a long time, or if I can't do it relatively quickly, it's not going to work for me. Just the way I am. Quick, quick, and quick. Well, when it comes to doing little projects, that is. Alright. We have our 2 straps. And they now fit in. Come on. There we go. So that's good. So that's a start. Well, I bought some strapping leather. Well, it's like a suede. It's leather. But it was a little too thick, as you can see. And I wanted to cut it long and make sure that I kept it even, because I want it to fit through these, where the hell are they? These buckles. And I just realized that I cut it too wide. Now, they're 42 inches long, and how did I cut them? I used a big old Master old-time paper cutter. Now, I had cleaned this thing up and went through it not too long ago, so I know it was all nice and sharp. However, I was only able to do like 3 inches at a time, because you have to hold it. And I just realized that I have to shave off a little bit more, which is a shame. I thought I had on the money, but apparently with a little movement, so I'll have to compensate for that. And let me finish cutting this up. Okie dokie. Well, I don't know. I think I may have, but I'm not sure, posted something about 4 or 5 months ago, if not a little bit longer, on I was trying to make a holster to fit on the chest, a chest rig, with a little bit of a cant to it, so it would fall right in the cavity of your chest, not off to the side on your rib or anything, but all right into the center of the cavity, not totally vertical nor totally horizontal, just a little bit of a cant, so that you can naturally lift it up off towards your shoulder, towards your drawing shoulder. And I was putzing around, and I kind of just gave up on it for a while, because the wife's sewing machine just doesn't want to sew anything real heavy. Last week I was watching a video on a guy that's making some of these holsters. I think he's in Utah. So anyway, I called him up to ask him, because it was just what I was looking for, to be honest with you. And I had asked him about it, and because I was going to order one. Excuse me, I need a sip of water. Until he told me $265 to fit my FNX or FNS, whichever I prefer at that point, 9mm. Well, you know what? I totally agree with everybody making $1. I really do. There's nothing wrong with it. That's the American way. You know, you got to do what you got to do. However, I am not going to spend $265 for a holster. So I took one of the $25 holsters that I had picked up on eBay that fits my leather, my FNS or FNX, and I went down to Hobby Lobbies and I bought some strapping, and I believe I did a video on me cutting it using a paper cutter because it was just a little too wide for the buckles and things, because I didn't want to go 1/2 inch, right? It was too thin, nor did I want to go 1.5 inches. You know, so I wanted to fall, like, you know, in between. So I found some 1-inch buckles and everything seems to fit. So this is what I bought. So as you can see, there's a number of holes here, only because I've been experimenting as to where the buckles should be. Now, once I get it right, I can just at this point cut this off so I don't have the belt loops, or just leave them there. You know, it doesn't make a difference. And I can see you're not seeing this whole thing here, so I'm sorry about that. Let's bring this up a little bit. Or, at this point now, I can buy the proper leather, because there isn't any sewing to be done, per se, and make it out of, this is like a suede, so it's a little hard getting on and off over your shoulders and things. Now I do have the buckles, and I punched out some holes. Right now I started using Chicago screws, as you can see, but I don't trust these really that much, and I have a rivet, but I didn't want to start riveting and using permanent, so I have a bunch of odds and ends of what they call T-nuts and bolt nuts. Let me show you what I mean. This portion here, I'm sorry, bolt nut, barrel nut. They call that a barrel nut in your fastenings. And gun, it would be a thread for the end of the barrel. However, that's called a barrel nut. So if you can look for these under fasteners, you know, like hardware stores and stuff, you'll find a barrel nut. Now the opposite side is called the T-nut. Now, you don't really need the T-nut just yet, but I think I'm going to use them when I finally make one. A T-nut is one of these little things. I don't know why they call it a T-nut, to be honest with you. Now, what happens, you put that on your leather, and as you bang it in, it grips. So now this would be, just banged into the leather from beneath, and this coming down on the top would hold your strapping on and pull this up tighter into the leather. So at that point, there's nothing on this side that's going to infringe and catching on your clothes and things. So this part is called a T-nut. And it just takes a standard, whatever size you want as far as the small bolt. It does not come with the bolts. You have to buy those separate. Now if you go to a local shop like West Marine, you are going to spend, for that T-nut alone, just for that T-nut, you're going to spend about $3 each. For the barrel nut, you're going to spend close to $5. You find them on The internet, you could buy 10 of them for $5. You could buy 25 of them for 19 bucks. You could buy 2,000 for 60 bucks. So you're better off shopping the internet. But those are going to work. Excuse me. So once I get this exactly, and I'm like 99% of where I want everything to be on this particular type of holster. So if I'm going to continue to use this holster and kind of just write it off as a waste, I can cut it off here because there's a seam. So I can cut this off right here. Just come around with it here. Don't worry about that hole there. I'll just dye it in and we're all set. And on this side, just leave it alone basically and have no problems with it. You know, and just use some leather, like a leather belt type leather, or maybe a little bit thinner because you don't want it to start digging into you. See, my original thought was the suede type, so it won't dig into you. But it may start to catch on your clothes a little bit. With the leather, I can polish off the backside or use it in reverse, doesn't make a difference, so that it won't snag or drag on your clothing. So as you move, it may change the readjustments. Well, if it's able to slide a little bit, it'll stay more or less where you want to put it. So that's where I'm at. So I ordered a bunch of these, and once they come in I'll have the right sizes, because right now I'm using just what I have, and I'll get that done, and then I will look around locally. Hobby Lobby has not got the leather that I need, so I'm going to have to look around a couple of places, maybe even just buy a couple of belts if I can find them up at like Wally World or something at the right price, Walmart, and just use a couple of belts. It's not a big deal at this point. That's probably be the easiest way to go. So anyway, that's where we're at. Now while I'm here, I don't know if you remember, but I had to replace on the Toro Pushmore, you know, the gas, the bottom, whatever you want to call it, flange or whatever it is that holds the blade on, because it had snapped, it broke off. The wife was cutting the front lawn and apparently it broke. So I had asked her at that point if she ran over anything, because you know, as a rule they're not going to just break. And she said no. You know, so I have no reason to had no reason to doubt her at that point. So I said, okay, not a problem. You know, you could have hit something in the past that may have just weakened it, and then now it just finished off. But we'll just let it be. So we ordered a new one, and I put it on. Not a big deal. It was like 20 bucks delivered. I got it through that eReplacementParts.com. Well, put a new one on. She cut most of the lawn. She liked it. Everything worked. And now I got the tractor that I can put the belly deck on and cut the lawn. And I normally do that. But every now and then she'll go out there and she'll cut the whole lawn by hand with a little 21 inch or whatever it is Toro Pushmore, because she likes the exercise. So I don't want to grudge her exercise. I just want her to know that she doesn't have to do that if she doesn't want to. But anyway, she did it. And then she, today, she said, I'm going to go out and just do a little bit more trimming around where she didn't do, you know, around the bushes and things and stuff. And I said, well, remember the weed whackers, so we don't have to get too close, and so on and so forth. But anyway, she comes in and she says, guess what? I go, what's that? She goes, she broke it. I says, what'd you run over? She has nothing today. Okay. She says, but yesterday I ran over a cylinder that was partially buried in the ground. Now those cylinders, I don't know if I did a video on them or not, those round things that I get for nothing. Well, sometimes what I'll do is if I'm burying any type of an electrical wire or something, I run it in a conduit first of all, and I bury it down. Well, sometimes I'll throw a couple of cylinders here and there just to hold it down until I get a chance to cover it all over. And then I cover the whole thing over. Because sometimes, just as the weather and things beat down on that fresh dirt, the dirt tends to settle a little bit, and you may see a little bit of piece of the white of the cylinder. Well, I had mentioned to her the other day that the lawnmower was cutting too high. It was like it was just not cutting anything. I like a long lawn, but I don't like it to where you can't tell if you cut it or not. So I says, we'll have to adjust it, so let me know before you do it, because I'll bring it down a notch, you know, at a time. One is, that's where I like the grass to be, because it feeds best there. Second is, we don't have to worry about if there's any little tidbits in the ground. Well, she dropped it, and she dropped it all the way. And not paying attention, she ran over that little part of the cylinder that was coming up, thinking that she was going to clear it, and apparently she did not clear it, and that's what happened. So when she started it up today, and it started to work, so we got to order another piece, and then I'm going to have to teach her how to use a lawnmower. Right. So anyway, she tries. That's all that counts. Alright guys, well, you may or may not have seen the video yet, only because I don't know if I even posted it. But basically, I have to apologize. I got a piece of corn muffin in my face. I'm in the middle of making a chest rig. Now, I don't want it so that it sits on the chest like this. I want it so it sits kind of like on a cant, so that this would be more or less facing my draw arm shoulder. So in this case, drawn from the right, this would be kind of like going towards my right shoulder. Now, I tried, excuse me, a few months back, if you remember right, and again, if I posted it, I don't know, I started doing something like this with nylon strapping just to see how it would work and if it was going to work. And I kind of just gave up on it. I said, screw it. But I like it to fit right in that cavity of the chest, because when I hold it there, it feels right. And it feels right when I have that little cant, so that I can draw off from the shoulder area. You know, drawing up towards the shoulder, not out this way, or not up towards my chin, because I don't want to knock myself out. So I said, let me try this again. So I went to Hobby Lobbies to see if they had anything that I can use. So they had this strapping, 42 inch by 1.5 inch. So I shaved it down using a paper cutter, and a little bit at a time, and it did the job. However, this is a suede on both sides. In the package, it looked like it was going to be a shiny leather on one side because of the package. So the package doesn't really show it just. However, no big deal. So then I took this old $25 holster that I have, that's for my FNS or X, and I started working with it using Chicago screws. Well, then I found that it doesn't really do much for me, because it has to have some type of adjustment so that you can get it in right. Now you notice I have a number of holes that I'm using, as well as this. Well, the holes are so that I was able to get it to sit right and yet have a little bit of room for swivel, because I don't want to just cut the holster off, because theoretically I can still use this holster with those holes in it. I just dye out the holes black and you're really not going to notice them. So that's what I have. Now, unfortunately, the strapping, I bought 2 when I should have had 3. The strapping is only 42 inches. I didn't expect to use the full strap going over my shoulder, because I didn't take into account for these little loops that I had to make nor did I, well, I didn't expect this 42 inch either to make it around my torso, because even when I'm down to my normal size, I'm around 52 inches there. But I was going to take what I thought was going to have left over here and attach it to this, making it longer. However, I do have this so that it'll fit comfortably thus far, but a little tight, but I can get it on to make sure that it fits the way I like it to fit, and it does. Now I just need 2 downriggers, because I feel a little more comfortable knowing that I can tie these down to the belt. So I'm going to need approximately 7 or 8 inches to go from here with a strap down to the belt, just to kind of hold this down a little bit. And if you see a vibration, that's because of the lens just moved. So that's where I'm at with that. However, though, I don't want to continue to do this with this material, because I'm not going to use this material. So I dug out an old belt that I have, that I've had for years. As you can see, I've made holes in it and continue to cut it. And I think this belt is going to be enough to make it around my chest, which it does. Counting the space here, I'll have enough room. So I am going to replace this strap with this, and then I'll just go up to Wally World and buy a few more belts if I have to, because they already have the buckles on them. Now I'd rather have a buckle with a swivel on it, but as long as I have the swivels here, I'll be all set. So that's kind of where I'm at here. Here's a phone number for Bates. This is a Bates belt, by the way. I've had nothing but good luck with this belt. I have no problems with it. I hate to destroy it, but what are you going to do? So then I can take this piece to make my downriggers, and then once I have all the measurements, then I can go buy what I need in leather to finish it off. So that's what I'm going to do right now. I'm going to take this belt, attach it to here. I'll take this buckle, which is actually way too big. I'm going to have to shave this belt down a little bit to make it through that buckle, but that's okay. Almost make it like a, oh shit, what do they call those belts? I forgot now. But anyway, I'll remember it sooner or later. But shave this belt down just a hair so it'll make it through that. I hate like hell to ruin that buckle, but that buckle is way too big for what I'm going to need it to be. So what I'll do is I'll just break these snaps off and take the buckle right the hell out of there. Now that's simple enough, huh? There. So, and I'll do what I have to do. So anyway, that's what I'm up to. Well. Anyway, so far, I received the phone call from the Wondershare tech support guy, excuse me, who they actually contract him. He is in Canada. His name is Glenn. Nice guy. But he's never seen that problem that I have. He's tried it, and I got him into my system so he can actually physically see the issues and the problems that I was having. And he tried to correct it. He did a few different types of downloads using different installers. He went through everything, and he cannot seem to figure it out. So he sent me a new key, which I appreciate, and he's going to send me a new installer that he's going to get from the company. And we're going to try that. Now, he wasn't trying to push the problem off to something else, but he was saying that he's been seeing some problems with Windows 8.1 and Windows 8 with a number of different programs. So he's not going to rule that out to where it could be an issue. And you know what I just did? What a fool. Put it on the wrong thing. So that's an easy fix. There we go. So with that point, he had mentioned that I may want to think about updating, and not just because of the problem that I'm having. He says, but Windows 10, he actually has it in his computer, and he's been doing, apparently according to him, and he's given me no reason to not believe him, he's been doing support, tech support, for like 24 years. And he says Windows, he had seen Microsoft come out with a couple of good programs. Windows 7, he said, was great. He says Windows 10, Windows 8 rather, not so great. Windows 8.1 started to correct a few problems and had a lot of good, but still not as good as the old 7. So what he had said was 10 took the best of 7 and the best of 8.1, and now they have 10. And he said he's not trying to, push me into it. He just let me know that, that he felt comfortable with downloading it and it's running fine. So that, don't think that it's just another screw up, that it's not a bad program. So that gives me something to think about, because I haven't got the actual the CD, alright, on Windows 8 or 8.1. I was going to buy it because I like having it in case you ever got to reinstall or do something. You don't have to hunt it down and try to find it and then, go nuts waiting for downloads and did it get all the files or did it not. At least if you have the physical CD, it'll get you in. And it may have to do some updates after that, So I was going to order the 8.1 CD. But now I'm thinking, why don't I just order the 10? And just screw it and get it over with. Now before I do that, though, I have to check with Dell. Because Dell is kind of funny at times. Now this guy at tech support said it shouldn't, because it never bothered him. He says it may affect the warranty on your call-in tech support if you have an issue. He says, but it doesn't bother the warranty on the machine, because he has Dells that are under warranty and it doesn't bother the warranty. He says, however, sometimes the tech support may be a little, it gives them a reason not to help you. He says, so you may want to just call them up and check to see what they have to say about it before you make that transition. He says, but if you don't care about the tech support side, is it really a big deal? Then he said, how often have you called their tech support? Well, I've never called their tech support, with this machine or the machine before that. I had called maybe 4 years ago, 5 years ago with an issue that turned out to be a Microsoft problem. But other than that, I've never really used their tech support. So, should I really worry about that? Well, anyway, I came back out here to work on the holster, seeing that the program is still not working right. I mean, it's not a big deal other than I paid for it and I want it to work right. Right now I'm using a free copy of that Cyber or something, rather direct, I forgot what it was, something 13. But that free is going to run out in a few weeks, so I want to see what happens. And to be honest with you, even though the other program is now giving me problems, I liked the way that it worked when it was working. So, you know, I'd really like to get that one working again and not have to buy something different. So, but anyway, that's where I'm at. Excuse me. So I'm going to finish putzing with this. As you see, I have two different colors here, but I'm making a transition from a suede to a leather. So that's where I'm at. But I'm still using the suede to get whatever it is I need to get here. My adjustments. How's that, for a better word? So I'm going to let that sit for a while, because I'm going to go work out in the yard for a few minutes. I got an idea that the wife had me doing that that new dog thing out there for them to play on. So now that I got started on that, I got a few ideas, so I'm going to go out and correct that. Seeing that I can't cut the lawn around the trees because the wife broke the lawnmower again. Now I just put this piece on there, what, 2 weeks ago? So I told her, this time, you buy it. I told you what, better buy two the way you're going. Alright, catch you later.